Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Jai Radha Madhav Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashodhanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Kiravana Chari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhari Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Gurudev Jaya Jaya Gurudev Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Gaura Hari Bol Gaura Hari Bol Gaura Hari Bol Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranams to all. Thank you all for joining in. Today we're going to cover the remaining section of chapter number 15. I would say very, very esoteric subject matter. We're going to talk about lust and love, what is the difference and all that. So as we sing these two beautiful bhajans, I would request devotees to remain muted and sing these bhajans. So we are praying for the mercy of Shri Radha and Krishna, the mercy of Guru and Gauranga, and all the Ashtashakis, the entire Guru Parampara, so that we understand this tattva very nicely. There's a lot of opportunity to misunderstand, and misunderstanding would mean zeroizing our devotional service. Our inclination to perform devotional service, we get zeroized if you don't understand the difference between lust and love. What is the love that Srimati Radharani has for Krishna? So let's be very sincere in begging Shri Radha and Krishna, Shri Guru Gauranga, the entire Guru Parampara, that may we understand the subject matter nicely so that we advance in devotional service. And we move from Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti to the stage of Raganuga Bhakti. Raganuga Bhakti means we are following in the footsteps of Ragatmika Bhaktas, those who are eternally engaged in the service of the Lord with love and devotion, who don't even take into consideration the Aishwarya of the Lord. That is where we want to reach. But to reach there, we have to be very, very careful so that we have the Sambandha Gyan established correctly. As we perform Abhideya, then we will get the Prayojana. So we'll sing this beautiful song, which is Krishna Prema Mayi Radha, Radha Prema Mayo Hari. Right? Krishna and Radha Rani are non-different. Right? When Krishna wants to enjoy, he expands into Srimati Radharani. And then when they want to enjoy together, then they merge to become Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Right? Mameva Amsho Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. We are all parts and parcels of the Lord. We are all meant to be enjoyed by the Lord. So we cannot imitate the Lord, but we are meant to be enjoyed by the Lord. In that mood of being the servant of the servant of the servant, we'll sing these two songs. One is Krishna Prema Mi Radha. The other is Radha Krishna Prana Mora Jugala Kishore. Right? So as we are talking about Srimati Radharani's love for Krishna, we should also meditate on how we want to develop that mood to serve Shri Radha and Krishna, following in the footsteps of the Vaishnava Acharyas, being the servant of the servant of the servant, taking their permission. We want to develop this loving mood towards the service of Shri Radha and Krishna. So let's sing this first song. I would request everyone to sing this song because when we pray collectively, then we might be able to understand the depths of this love that you're going to talk about of Srimati Radharani for Lord Sri Krishna. कृष्ण प्रेममयी राधा राधा प्रेममयो हरिः जीवने निधने नित्यं राधा कृष्ण गतिर्मम कृष्णस्य द्रविणं राधा राधाया द्रविणान् हरि जीवने निधने नित्यं राधा कृष्ण गतिर्मम कृष्ण प्राणमयी राधा राधा प्राणमयो हरिः जीवने नधने नित्यं राधा कृष्ण गतिर्मम कृष्ण द्रवमयी राधा राधा द्रवमयो हरिः जीवने निधने नित्यं राधा कृष्ण गतिर्मम कृष्ण गेहे स्थिता राधा राधा गेहे स्थितो हरिः जीवने निधने नित्यं राधा कृष्ण गतिर्मम कृष्ण चित्त स्थिता राधा राधा चित्त स्थितो हरिः जीवने निधने नित्यं राधा कृष्ण गतिर्मम नीलाम्बरधरा राधा पीताम्बरोधरो हरिः नीलाम्बरधरा राधा पीताम्बरधरो हरिः जीवने निधने नित्यं राधा कृष्ण गतिर्मम वृन्दावनेश्वरी राधा कृष्णो वृन्दावनेश्वरः जीवने नधने नित्यं राधा कृष्ण गतिर्मम कृष्ण प्रेममयी राधा राधा प्रेममयो हरिः जीवने निधने नित्यं राधा कृष्ण गतिर्मम राधा कृष्ण प्राणमोरा युगल किशोरा जीवने मरणे गति अरुणाहि मोरा कालिंदीर कूले केली कदंबेरवना रत्ना बेदीरा ऊपर बोसा बदुजाना राधा कृष्ण प्राण मोरा युगल किशोरा श्याम गौरी अंगे दीपो चंदनेरा गंधा चामरा दुलाभो कबे रे मुख चंद्रा राधा कृष्ण प्राण मोरा युगल किशोरा ललिता विशाखा आदि जटाशाखी वृंदा आज्ञया गौरीबो सेवा चरणारविंदा राधा कृष्ण प्राण मोरा युगल किशोरा श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु दासेरनुदासा सेवाभिलाषा करे नरोत्तम दासा। श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु दासेरनु दासा। सेवाभिलाषा करे नरोत्तम दासा। राधा कृष्ण प्राण मुरारी युगल किशोरा। जीवने मरणे गति आयो नहीं मोरा। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। राधा कृष्ण प्राण मुरारी युगल किशोरा। जीवने मरणे गति आयो नहीं मोरा। श्रीराम संकीर्तन की जय। ओम ज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपां साग्रजाता सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं श्रीकृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नाम्ने गौरद्विषे नमः। पंचतत्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकं। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। गुरवे गौरचंद्राय राधिकाय तरालये कृष्णाय कृष्णभक्ताय तद्भक्ताय नमो नमः। मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरून् दीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीकृष्णचैतन्यमीश्वरं। हरिः ओं तत्सत्। नानाशास्त्रविचारनैकनिपुणो sadharma samstapako Dana Shastra Vicharanaika Nipuno Sadharma Samstapako Lokanam Hitakarino Tribhuvane Manyau Sharanyakaro Radha Krishna Padaravinda Bhajana Nandena Mattaliko Vande Rupa Sanatana Raghuyuga Sri Jiva Gopalaka Vande Rupa Sanatana Raghuyuga Sri Jiva Gopalaka Vande Rupa Sanatana Raghuyuga Sri Jiva Gopalaka Goswamis of Vrindavan ki jai. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada Srila Gurudev ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrind ki jai. Nitai Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna. So thank you all dear devotees for joining in the Nectar of Devotion session this morning. So we are in chapter number 15. Yesterday we completed a section of the 15th chapter. Today we'll conclude the remaining portion of the 15th chapter, and we will try to summarize, taking the blessings of Guru Gauranga and all the Vaishnavas. We will start now. So let me share my screen. Devotees who want to read can raise your hands, and then we can read it. But one disclaimer is that I will not be able to answer any questions. These are all very, very transcendental subject matters. I am not qualified to answer anything. What I have done is what I've learned, what I've studied and learned from my senior devotees. I'm just going to repeat whatever I have heard from the devotees. So my apologies. I would not be able to answer any queries in today's session. So we'll try to cover, and according to my limited understanding of this transcendental subject matter, we'll discuss something, what I've heard. All right. So with that, I'll request Arun Gupta Prabhu. You can start, Prabhu. Yesterday we completed until here. We spoke about how Vadanti Tattva Vidas Tattvam Vijnanam Advayam Brahmeti Paramatmeti Bhagavan Iti Shabdyate. Right? In Srimad Bhagavatam it is described the 3 levels of realization of the Supreme Lord. The first level is Brahman realization. Second realization is the Paramatma realization, and the final realization is that of Bhagavan. Right? And those who are in love with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they don't settle for anything other than serving the Supreme Personality of Godhead in Goloka Vrindavan Dham in his most beautiful form as Shri Shri Radha Shamasundar, in the mood of Gopi Bhartu Padakamalyor Dasa 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 Dasanu Dasa, in the mood of the servant of the servant of the servant. So this is where we want to continue today. So let's continue with this. Arun Gupta Prabhu, please go ahead. The lusty attitude of the gopis.
Hare Krishna, Madhi. The lusty attitude of the gopis does not refer to any sort of sex indulgence. Srila Rupa Goswami explains that this lusty desire refers to the devotee's particular attitude of association with Krishna. Every devotee in his perfectional stage has a spontaneous attraction to the Lord. This attraction is sometimes called the lusty desire of the devotee. The lust is the devotee's excessive desire to serve the Lord in a particular capacity. Such a desire may seem to be a desire for enjoying the Lord, but actually the endeavor is to serve the Lord in that capacity. For example, a devotee may be desiring to associate with the personality of Godhead as his cowherd friend. He will want to serve the Lord by assisting him in controlling the cows in the pasturing ground. This may appear to be a desire to enjoy the company of the Lord, but actually it is a spontaneous love, serving him by assisting in managing the transcendental cows. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah. Thank you so much, Prabhu. So here we are talking about how the devotee wants to serve the Lord in according to the rasa that a person has developed, right? But there is no particular rasa that we know in our current state. We don't know what rasa we are in serving the Lord. So the rasa that is universal rasa for all, and which is also included in Madhurya rasa also is the seva bhav, right? The opportunity to serve the Supreme Lord in the mood of the servant, right? That we can all do. Even as sadhana bhaktas, Vaidhi Sadhana Bhaktas, we can all practice that by serving the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the mood of the servant, and even better, in the mood of the servant of the servant of the servant. We take permission from our gurus, our senior devotees, before we render service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And this bhava, this mood of humility is what attracts the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Right? There is one beautiful pastime. This is of the Andal. Andal is one of the Alvars, the only Alvar who is a lady. This Andal, she was, when she was a small girl, also she was very devoted to Lord Krishna. And his father used to make nice garlands for the Lord. And he had taught this Andal. She was called Kodai at that time. So, this Kodai was making nice flower garlands. And one day what happened, the garland was looking so nice. So she put the garland on herself. She stood in front of the mirror. She put the garland on herself and she saw, is the garland looking nice? Yeah, the garland is looking very nice. Now, then she gave the garland to her father to actually put for the Lord. And this was happening for many days. And the Lord was happily accepting the garland. One day, what happened? Kodai, like normal, she made a beautiful flower garland. She stood in front of the mirror, wore the garland to see if it is nice. And then she gave it to her father. And her father realized there was a small string of hair on the garland. He was doubting what happened. And then he offered the garland to the Lord. The next day, he was just trying to check what is happening. Why is there, some particles like that? So he saw how his daughter was actually making the garland, putting the garland, checking in the mirror, is the garland looking nice, and then giving it to the father. And the father thinks, oh my Lord, my daughter is doing so much of aparad. She is wearing the garland herself, and then she is giving the garland to the Lord. And then he goes, he tells Kodai that you will never make a garland for the Lord ever again. And Kodai is crying, young girl. She's crying so much. He goes and begs forgiveness from the Lord. Oh Lord, we didn't know this was a great aparad. My daughter has committed such a big aparad. Because I was ignorant of it. Please forgive me. Like he also cries, and then he offers the next day. He goes and he himself prepares the garland. Right? Does not allow his daughter to prepare the garland. He himself prepares the garland, and then he goes and offers it to the Lord. Lo and behold, the garland falls down immediately. The Lord is not even accepting the garland, because as soon as he tried putting the garland fell down. And then again he tried putting the garland is falling down. So he's thinking, oh, we have committed a lot of offense. The Lord is not willing to forgive us. And then he's crying and crying and crying. And then the Lord speaks to him, saying that I will only accept the garland if it is offered first to Kodai. And in this way, he was so much in tears. He ran home. He begged forgiveness from his daughter. Right? And in this way, from that day onwards, every day Kodai will prepare the garland, wear it on herself, and then offer the garland to the Lord. Right? So in this way, this actually shows the love of because she did not wear the garland to see how she was looking good in it. She was wearing the garland to see whether the garland was looking nice, whether it was offerable to the Lord. You also know about Shabari, right? How she ate a portion of the fruit, and then she gave the fruit to Lord Ram, and Lord Ram happily accepted it. Right? He did not say, "Oh, Juta, you're offering me your remnants. What do you think you are?" Right? We always say, right? The Lord is Baba Grahi Janardana. Right? We also know about Vidurani. Right? When Krishna went to Vidurani's house, rejecting Duryodhana's invitation, what Vidurani was offering? Not even banana. Vidurani was offering banana peel. Right? She peeled, and then in her ecstasy, she was throwing the banana to the dustbin and looking at the lotus face of Lord Krishna, offering peels to Lord Krishna. And Krishna was happily accepting the peels, isn't it? Krishna was happily, and Vidurji was looking, oh, what is happening? And then before he could say something, Krishna is telling him, no, don't tell anything. Right? And he was eating the peels. Krishna was happily accepting the peels. And Krishna is Bhava Grahi. He does not see what the person is doing. Right? The person may be actually doing something which is so-called contrary to the regulative principles. Right? How can we give to the Lord what we've already accepted? Whether it is Kodai's garland, whether it is Shabari's fruit, or whether it is Vidurani offering the peel of the banana to the Supreme Lord. Right? We understand that Krishna sees the bhava. right? Not that from tomorrow onwards you make the garland, wear it and then give, right? That is why it is said, we don't imitate the devotees of the Lord. What we learn from this is what is that Krishna accepts. Patram pushpam phalam toyam Yome bhaktya prayachati. Right? Krishna accepts our bhakti. Krishna accepts our love. Krishna accepts our devotion. At the same time, we should not behave like Prakriti Sahajyas. Right? Thinking myself, oh, I am a great devotee. Right? I will do like that. Right? In that way, when we do, then punar mushiko bhava. That means whatever devotional service we are able to do now also, we will not be able to do. Right? What is the quality of a devotee? The quality of a devotee is that I am not at all qualified to serve the Lord. But Guru and Srila Prabhupada, they have seen something in me, that they've given me some seva. In that mood of dasa, right? Maharaj Kulashekar, that's what he prayed. Gopi Bhartu Padakamalayur, dasa anudasa. The more we are coming last, the greater will be the mercy of the Lord that we can perceive. Right? The more we want to become the direct servant of the Lord, to that extent, we will not be able to perceive the mercy. And to the extent our mood is to serve the Lord. Right? One of the devotees was talking in a class. Right? If there can be so much seva that can be done so beautifully well, if people don't care to see who gets the credit for that service. Right? Sometimes you are so attached to getting credit. I did this seva. We are more attached to who's getting the credit for that seva, that we don't even concentrate on doing the seva properly and the proper mood. And then the benefit of doing the seva is also lost. Isn't it? So that is what is mentioned here. What is it? The gopis may be desiring, it looks like Koda is actually trying to enjoy the garland herself. But what was her mood? She wanted to offer the best to the Lord. And such kind of bhava cannot be artificially created in our heart. That has to be naturally arisen in the heart by the mercy of the Lord himself. Right? Seeing our sincerity, the Lord may someday give us that bhava. But we should not artificially endeavor for it. Right? Somebody asked His Grace Sankarshan Das Adhikari Prabhu that Maharaj or Prabhu, he's a Grasta disciple of Srila Prabhupada. So you ask this Prabhu that whenever I start put my hand into the bead bag and start chanting, I'm getting all the leelas of Krishna automatically figuring in my mind. And then the Prabhu answered, I said, okay, like that he asked. And Prabhu said, if the leelas come on their own, it is fine. But we should not artificially try to think of the leelas. And on a lighter note, one person that happened with Prabhupada, one person told Prabhupada, a new devotee, he went and told Prabhupada, when I'm chanting Hare Krishna, so many different kinds of lights are coming in my mind. Prabhupada said, continue chanting, all the lights will go away. Like that, right? So sometimes we think, oh, I'm so elevated, I'm getting so many realizations, right? In such a case, we should know our real status. How do we check our real status? Our real status is, how much do I want to chant more than the minimum 16 rounds? Minimum 16 rounds, everybody will have to do, right? If I want to chant 32 rounds, 64 rounds every day, that means I'm getting a little taste in chanting Harinam, right? If I want to hear Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, every moment I'm free, I want to go and attend the class. I want to hear about Krishna, and not to show off to others. I am there in all the sessions. Dekho, 8 baje ki session maybe hu, 9 baje ki session maybe hu. If that is the attitude, then we miss the point, isn't it? But we need not convince anybody else. Like Prabhupada says, Falena Parichiyate. We will know, just like Yata Toror Mula Nishechanena. Right? When we water the root of the plant goes so nicely. Right? When the plant grows luxuriantly, we know that it has been watered nicely. And Prabhupada also gives an example of how you don't have to ask anybody else. Oh, I had a sumptuous meal, right? Nice chapati, paneer, butter masala, and nice, vegetable fried rice and dal and sabji. Nice prasadam I had. Do I need to ask the person sitting next to me, hey, is my stomach full? Am I feeling happy and satisfied with the food that I ate? No, we don't have to, because we're already experiencing it. We're experiencing the satisfaction of having very nice, delicious Krishna prasadam. Similarly, when we advance in Krishna consciousness, automatically we will feel the bliss. Automatically we will want to serve more and more. And that is the test. So we don't have to ask anybody. So similarly, these devotees, right, from our external vision, it may seem that these devotees actually want to enjoy Krishna. right? Why are the gopis running behind Krishna? Right? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Aslisya va padratam pinashtumam adarshanan marmahatam karotva yata tatha vidadatu lampato mat prananathastu sevana para. Krishna is my worshipful Lord, whether he is present in front of me or he is not present in front of me. So let me just sing his glories. Why are the gopis going in search of Krishna? That is what we think from our external eyes, what we see from the past tense. Right? But why are the gopis going behind Krishna? Krishna wants them to come searching for him. It gives pleasure to Krishna. That is why the gopis go behind Krishna. Sometimes it is said that, even Radharani gets this man, that Krishna is only dancing with me. And Krishna disappears from that place. And it is said that, these pastimes happen. Why? Because when Radharani thinks like that and Krishna disappears from there, and Radharani goes in search of Krishna, and Krishna is standing there as Vishnu form. And then, when the gopis go, then Krishna says, he went this side somewhere, or I don't know where Krishna is, like that. But when Radharani comes searching, Vishnu, Lord, in his Vishnu form, he cannot maintain. His 4 arms drop, and then he becomes a Shyamasundar form. So these are the ecstatic pastimes that Krishna wants to relish and enjoy. So that is why the devotees, the pure devotees of the Lord, although it may look from our mundane eyes that they are looking to enjoy Krishna, they are doing all of this only for the pleasure of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Shri Krishna. So whether in our Swarupa Siddhi, whether we are gopis in Vrindavan, whether we are assisting Srimati Radharani, or whether we are cowherd boys who will be playing with Krishna for Lord Krishna's pleasure, or whether we are grass in Vrindavan, or whether we are ornaments of the Lord, whatever way, right? Shanta, Dasa, Dasya, Vatsalya, what is that? Sakya, Vatsalya, or Madhurya Ras, whatever be our ras with the Lord, there is service. That is an inherent aspect of every kind of rasa, right from Shanta Rasa to Madhurya Rasa, right? Although the devotees may desire to enjoy the company of the Lord, it is because of their spontaneous love for the Lord. They want to give so much pleasure to the Lord. They know what will give pleasure to the Lord, and they behave accordingly. So with this mode, let's continue a couple of paragraphs, and then we will summarize it. Okay. So next is sensual attraction. Who will read this? Anushri Mataji, go ahead.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Sensual attraction. This extreme desire to serve the Lord is manifest in the transcendental land of Raja, and it is specially manifested among the gopis. The gopis' love for Krishna is so elevated that for our understanding, it is sometimes explained as being lusty desire. The author of
So, we will, I would request devotees, whoever is not read, read a couple of paragraphs. I think we have about 4 or 5 paragraphs only. Whoever wants to read can read. This reading in this itself is purifying, because we are reading Prabhupada's words, right? So there is no extra thing that will be added, right? It's Prabhupada's purports only across Bhagavatam and lectures given by Prabhupada that we're going to discuss today. So, why is it compared to lusty desire, right? Because that is the greatest kind of pleasure that we can envisage in this material world. So, giving an example of something that we know of, then only we can relate to it, right? That's why Krishna tells in the 10th chapter, right? Out of rishis, I am Narada. Out of mountains, I am Meru. I am the Rasoham Apsughonteya Prabhashmi Shashishuriyo Pranavaha Sarva Vedeshu. Shabdake Paurusham Rishu. I am the ability in man. I am the sound of ether. I am the Omkar sound of the Vedas. I am the taste in water. I am the splendor of the sun and the moon. Why Krishna has to give so many details, right? Why? Because that is what we have experienced, right? At least when we drink water, we can think of Krishna. Oh, Krishna has a taste of water. Right? When we see the sun, when we're doing Surya Namaskar, or when we are offering our obeisances to the sun, we know that the sun and the moon are the eyes of Krishna. This effulgence of the sun is the effulgence of Krishna. So in this way, what we can relate to with our material senses, right? The other day also we're discussing about why the Lord descends as Archa Vigraha, right? When Krishna comes personally and stands before us also, we cannot recognize the Lord. That is why the Lord has come in the form of Archa Vigraha, so that we can engage our senses, and in this way we will experience the bliss. That is why it is explained as lusty desire. Because lusty desire is what we all, right, as conditioned souls of this material world, this is the maximum pleasure that we have experienced. So, if this is a drop of the pleasure that is there in the spiritual world, for which we are going to assist the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then to attract the fallen souls, right? Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyuthanam adharmasya tadatmanam srijamiham. Why does the Lord come? The Lord comes every yuga after yuga to attract us by his transcendental pastimes, so that we may be attracted to go back to the Goloka Dham. Otherwise, we are attracted by all of these mundane things in this material world. Even though we are frustrated, we are still attracted to all of this, right? And also, janma karma cha me divyam evam yoveti tatvatah tyaktva deham punarjanma naiti mameti so Arjuna. Right? By giving us these trailers, right? When we want to, when there's a new movie that's released, right? We see so many billboards, with the big posters about the movie. And then when we watch some other program, also the trailer of the movie comes, right? Why? Because they're attracting us, so that we may go and watch the 3-hour movie, isn't it? Similarly, the Lord gives a trailer of what happens in the spiritual world in Vrindavan Dham. And when we understand that these pastimes are transcendental, janma karma cha me divyam, the activities and appearance of the Lord are transcendental, right? We cannot compare it with our mundane activities, right? That's why he shows displays various pastimes like lifting the Govardhan hill for 7 days with the small finger of the left hand. Right? All this cannot be imitated, right? Certain things which Lord Krishna does, people want to imitate. So Prabhupada tells in a lecture, let them also imitate the other things. Now, let them lift the Govardhan hill. Let them dance, on a snake, like that. So in this way, why is it mentioned as lusty desire? It is only to give us an understanding of what is it that is being referred to. All right. So let's continue reading. Who will read next? Krishnamurti Prabhu, go ahead. The author of Chaitanya Charitamrita, from there.
Hare Krishna Mataji. The author of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Kaviraja Krishna Dasa, has explained the distinction between the lusty desire and the service attitude in this statement. Lusty desire refers to the desire to gratify one's personal senses, and transcendental desire refers to the desire for serving the senses of the Lord. In the material world, there is no such thing as a lover's way wanting to please the senses of his beloved. Actually, in the material world, everyone wants mainly to gratify his own personal senses. The gopis, however, wanted nothing to all but to gratify the senses of the Lord, and there is no instance of this in the material world. Therefore, the gopis' ecstatic love for Krishna is sometimes described by scholars as being like the lusty desire of the material world. But actually, this should not be taken as a literal fact. It is simply a way of trying to understand the transcendental situation. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. So here the gopis wanted nothing except to gratify the senses of the Lord. This we see also in that wonderful pastime which we discussed several times. What was that? When Krishna had this headache, right? He called Narada Muni and he told, go everywhere and ask for the dust of the pure devotee of the Lord, right? And in this way, when Narada Muni went, he went to Vaikunja Loka, he went everywhere, but nobody was willing to give the dust, because giving the dust of the dust of the lotus feet to Krishna means we will suffer in hell for millions of lifetimes. But the people who immediately, there was no dust actually, because Goloka Dham is said to be so clean and very beautiful. What did they do? They went, they walked here, there, everywhere. Then they scraped both the heels, and then they collected dust and they gave it to Narada Muni. Narada Muni is saying, do you know what you are preparing for? You will have to suffer in hell for millions of lifetimes. And the gopis are saying, that is fine. If that is going to cure Lord Shri Krishna of moments of headache, we are willing to suffer for millions of lifetimes in hell. So this is what is love, right? Love means to satisfy the senses of our beloved, right? And there is no beloved other than Lord Shri Krishna, right? Because we don't know who's going to be our mother, who's going to be our father, who was our mother, who was our father in the previous lifetime, who was our husband, who will be our wife, etc., etc. We don't know. But we know one thing, right? Whether we come as a human being, whether we come as a pig, whether we come as a hog, whether we come as a devata, does not matter. But Krishna is always present in our heart as the super soul, as a Paramatma, right? So the association of, we can lose anybody else's association, but we can never lose Krishna's association. Why? Not because of our endeavor. Because Krishna does not give up on us. Although we have given up on Krishna, we want to enjoy independent of Krishna. We have become competitors to Krishna. Even then, Krishna does not give up on us. Krishna comes periodically to attract us. Please develop this desire to come back to me. This material world is dukhalem ashashvatam. He's telling through himself in Bhagavad Gita. He's telling through his devotees. So that some or the other, we may develop this interest to go back home, back to Godhead. So in this way, we also see that in Kali Yuga, how Krishna comes himself as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to give this Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Very easy way of how we can develop this love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Right now, Prabhupada will define what is love, what is lust, and what is the contribution of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in this entire scheme of things. Right? We think we are doing, but actually we are being. They say that you'll be dragged to Krishna Prema if you are sincere and we follow the regulative principles. If you just do Sambandha and Abhideya properly, then Prayojana will come to us, whether we like it or not. Right? So that is what is given here. Who will read? Sudha Mataji, go ahead. Great devotees.
Hare Krishna Mataji, pranams. Great devotees up to the standard of Uddhava are very dear friends of the Lord, and they desire to follow in the footsteps of the gopis. So the gopis' love for Krishna is certainly not material lusty desire. Otherwise, how could Uddhava aspire to follow in their footsteps? Another instance is Lord Chaitanya himself. After accepting the sannyasa order of life, he was very, very strict about avoiding association with women, but still he thought that there is no better method of worshipping Krishna than that conceived by the gopis. Thus, the gopis' method of worshipping the Lord, as if impelled by lusty desire, was praised very highly even by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This very fact means that although the attraction of the gopis for Krishna appears to be lusty, it is not in the least bit material. Unless one is fully situated in the transcendental position, the relationship of the gopis with Krishna is very difficult to understand. But because it appears to be just like ordinary dealings of young boys and girls, it is sometimes misinterpreted to be like ordinary sex of this material world. Unfortunately, persons who cannot understand the transcendental nature of the love affairs of the gopis and Krishna take it for granted that Krishna's love affairs with the gopis are mundane transactions, and therefore they sometimes indulge in painting licentious pictures in some modernistic style. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah. Right. So anyone who thinks that these transcendental activities between Shri Radha and Krishna, if anyone considers them to be ordinary activities, then one is actually losing all of one's little bit of pious credits, also what one has got, because of which one can practice devotional service. Because that is why it is said that a preacher is supposed to be a Madhyamadhikari. That means what? He should avoid the envious. He should preach to the innocent people who do not know who is Krishna. Preaching to the innocent, avoiding the envious, being friends with the devotees, wherein we do machita madgata prana bodhayanta parasparam kadayantasya mam nityam tushyanti cha ramanti cha, where the devotees enjoy talking about the pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead amongst themselves. So they have friendships with the devotees, and they have respect and love, and they worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So these are the four features of a person who is a Madhyama Adhikari. Right? And it is said that Prabhupada, who is an Uttama Adhikari, who actually created 108 temples, he actually moved down to the level of a Madhyama Adhikari when he went and actually preached. We can see in many lectures Prabhupada saying, rascal, right? You should avoid him, right? Let him come. I will take care of him, like that. So we should understand that Prabhupada is teaching us that we should be avoiding all these kind of people who by their activities, who by their words, will also engage us in Vaishnava Prad. Because simply by hearing the blaspheming of a Vaishnava, now we dig our own grave. And whatever little taste we have for devotional service, that also will be lost. Hence Prabhupada told that Srimad Bhagavatam, one should read it canto by canto, from the first canto, second canto, third canto. His Grace Radhisham Prabhu says, even Srila Prabhupada's books, we have to read in a certain order, where we understand the Sambandha Tattva very nicely. Then we move on to Bhagavad Gita. Then we move on to, after completing the Bhagavad Gita, hearing from the devotee who is coming in a bona fide Guru Parampara, then only we should go to the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. And then after the graduation study, then only we should be going to the postgraduate study, which is Chaitanya Charitamrita. However, we do hear, isn't it? Even though we may not have completed all, we can hear from a pure bona fide devotee of the Lord. It's not that you should not only independently study on our own. Why? Because when we study on our own, we use our imagination, our mental speculation to understand transcendental subject matters, wherein we will not arrive at the right conclusion. And we may consider these transcendental subject matters as mundane transactions. And in this way, we dig our grave for the little bit of bhakti lata that is growing in our heart, right? Brahmanda Brahmite Kona, Bhagyavana Jiva, Guru Krishna Prasadi Paya, Bhakti Lata Bija. We've got the seed of devotional service. We are watering it with chanting. We are watering it with hearing Krishna's glories. We are watering it by studying Nectar of Devotion, Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Prabhupada small books, etc. But along with that watering, what is also growing? Weeds are also growing. So we have to be very careful to hear only from a bona fide spiritual master, to hear from a devotee coming in a bona fide parampara, so that the weeds are avoided. And the seed of devotional service grows very nicely until it grows up into the Goloka Vrindavan Dham, and then it bears the flowers of Bhava and the ultimate fruit of Krishna Prema. Right? And Prabhupada also gives a very important analogy in a lecture where Prabhupada is saying, milk, generally when we drink milk, automatically we will feel healthy. Right? Milk has a potential, has that power to make one feel energized. But if that milk is touched if the snake has touched that milk, then what happens? The milk is poisonous. It will create poisonous effect in the person who is drinking that milk. Similarly, the Vedic literatures have the potency to purify our heart. But if we hear it from a person who does not come in the bona fide Guru Parampara, then it can create poisonous effects. Poisonous effects means that it will have the effect of destroying our Bhakti Lata or destroying our creeper of Bhakti. All right. So last paragraph, who will read? Okay, Janki Mataji, go ahead. On the other hand,
Hare Krishna, Madhavini. On the other hand, the lusty desire of Kubja has learned scholars as being almost lusty desire. Kubja was a hunchback woman who also wanted Krishna with a great ecstatic love, but her desire for Krishna was almost mundane, and so her love cannot be compared to the love of the gopis. Her loving affection for Krishna is called Kama Praya, or almost like the gopis' love for Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. So with this, we complete chapter number 15. See, Kubja's love is, Kubja we know was a hunchbacked woman. So basically, when she applied the sandalwood paste for Krishna, Krishna was very pleased with this seva, and Krishna actually stamped on her feet and lifted her up like this, and she became a very beautiful woman. She was a hunchback lady who became a very beautiful woman, and she got attracted to Krishna, and she invited Krishna to her home, and Krishna did go to her home also. Right? That is why it is said, Akama sarva kamova moksha kama udaradi tivrena bhakti yogena yajeta purusham param. Akama sarva kamova. Even though we may be full of desires, right? Our desires are all lust only, right? Now, even though we may be full of lusty desires, akama means no desires. Sarva kamova, all lusty desires are there in our heart. Moksha kama udaradi. Moksha kama means desire for liberation is also there in our heart. What do we have to do? Simply, tivrena bhakti yogena. Tivrena means with determination. Bhakti yogena, we have to practice the principles of bhakti yoga. And yajeta purusham param. Purusham param refers to Krishna only. Right? Ishwaraha parama Krishna. There may be so many Ishwaras in this world who may be in charge of various departments. Right? Some are in charge of fire, some are in charge of water, some are in charge of giving light. You have the Surya Devata, then you have the Varuna, you have the Indra, you have Vayu, you have so many. You even have Lord Shiva, Brahma, Kartikeya, Ganesha, Lakshmi Devi. Like in this way, People worship different controllers for various things. But it is they all of these demigods. They are all Ishwaras. They are all demigods. They are under an obligation to give what we want from them, provided we worship them according to the Karma Kanda sections of the Vedas. But I was just giving in some class about the example between a person having 10 rupees going to a shopkeeper and buying a chocolate. Right? That is the kind of deal that we enter into with Devatas. I will give you this. You give me. I'll break 3 coconuts at the Ganesha temple. That's called the Visa Temple in Chennai. I've heard of this Visa Temple. Somebody goes and breaks 3 coconuts, and then he wants a job which is $3 million in the United States. Right? So in this way, we ourselves, we don't even follow Karma Kanda. That is our beauty. Right? We want to give 3 rupees and we want to get 3 million. In this way, when we use our whims and fancies and worship, we will not even get what we want. But I am saying, even if someone follows the Karma Kanda section of the Vedas and worships Ganesha very nicely, they will get what they want, but it need not be the best thing for them. Right? After getting that, they may not be introduced into the path of bhakti. So whatever benefits they get is only at the bodily level. And what use is that? Right? Hardly. If somebody gets wealth, we don't know when the wealth will be lost. Somebody might just steal it. Or even if somebody is able to enjoy throughout his life, right? What happens? It will die with the body. So it's still very temporary. So in this way, we should be intelligent enough to pray to the Lord. What is the best thing for us? What is the best thing for us? Mama Janmani Ishware Bhavatat Bhaktir Ahaituki Tvai. That is why Hare Krishna Mahamantra is the best prayer that we can make to the Lord. No other prayer is as potent in this age of Kali as the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. O Supreme Lord Krishna, energy of the Supreme Lord Srimati Radharani, please engage me in your service. That is the best kind of prayer. And if we get that benediction, everything else is automatically obtained. Like Prabhupada explains in a lecture, if somebody has 200 rupees, 2 rupees and 20 rupees are automatically contained in it. Similarly, if we have the treasure of Krishna Prema, then all of the other realizations are servants, right? In Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Rupa Goswami gives this example, how when a queen walks, all of our maid servants are also walking behind the queen. Similarly, the queen of all processes of yoga is Bhakti Yoga. When we practice Bhakti Yoga and we succeed in Bhakti Yoga, all of the other siddhis will wait at our doorstep, right? It is said that Mukti also will wait at the doorstep of a devotee. But the devotee rejects all of that. A devotee does not want anything else other than Bhakti unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Shri Krishna. So with this, we conclude our chapter 15 of Nectar of Devotion. We thank all of you for your kind attention. So now quickly, I will just share one slide. This is giving the summary of chapter number 15. I'll also share it at the end of the session in our NOD group. So this entire chapter, which is entitled Spontaneous Devotional Service or Raga Atmika Bhakti. Ragatmika refers basically to those devotees in Vrindavan Dham who enjoy or who have permanent rasas, right? There cannot be a replacement for Mother Yashoda. We cannot aspire to become Mother Yashoda. We cannot aspire to become Radharani. We cannot aspire to become Lalita Vishaka. They are all permanent in the spiritual world, right? So those are Ragatmika Bhaktas. Whereas when we perfect our lives, when we go back to the spiritual world, we will still be Raga Anuga Bhaktas. Why? Because we'll be following and assisting those Ragatmika Bhaktas in their service to the Lord. Right? So we are always Raga Anuga. Anu means to follow. Whom are we following? We are following our spiritual masters. We are following the senior devotees who will help us to advance in devotional service. So we are Raga Anuga Bhaktas. So now in this entire chapter, Prabhupada has actually explained what is Raga, what is Ragatmika Bhakti, what are the 2 kinds of Ragatmika Bhakti, what is lusty desire, what is the transcendental desire, what are the 3 levels of realization of the Lord, and then what are the different destinations that a person can attain. And then finally, he touches upon the gopis' intense desire to serve the Lord. It's their intense desire that makes the Lord get empowered, get conquered by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, right? The Supreme Personality of Godhead is conquered by the love of his devotees. So in this way, let's quickly look at the summary of chapter number 15. We'll just finish in the next 10 minutes. So we are at 12 o'clock. Let me share my screen. Okay, NOD chapter 15. This chapter is entitled Hare Krishna. Okay, so this chapter is entitled Spontaneous Devotional Service, Ragatmika Bhakti, right? So first and foremost, Prabhupada explains what is Raga. Raga means spontaneous emotion or attraction for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, right? Such spontaneous love, what does it do? It makes our mind completely absorbed in the Lord, that we are not able to think of anything else, right? Smartavya satatam vishnur, vismartavyo na jatuchit, sarve vidhi nishedhyasur etayor eva kinkaraha. All of the devotional services that we do, from Shravanam to Atma Nivedanam, is to enable us to remember the Lord always and to never forget the Lord. Yeah, that's one. Raga. Raga means so much attached to the Lord that you're not able to think of anything else other than the pleasure of the Lord. Oh, let me cook this for the pleasure of the Lord. Let me make this garland for the Lord. Let me, nice clothes. Let me buy them and stitch the clothes for the Lord. Like that. Everything is dovetailed in the service of the Lord. Right? And then Prabhupada went on to talk about Raga Atmika Bhakti. Ishte swaraski ragaha parama vishtatha bhaved tanmayi ya bhaved bhakti satra ragatmikodita. Right? When Prabhupada is explaining how when one becomes attached to the Supreme Lord, one is completely absorbed in the thoughts of the Lord. And this is called transcendental attachment. Attachment to the Lord. Raga Atmika. That means the soul is completely immersed in the love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Srila Prabhupada explains Ragatmika Bhakti is a spontaneous devotional service rendered with intense desire, laulyam, right? Generally we say Jana Sangascha laulyam cha sadvit bhaktir vinashyati. But there is one kind of laulyam that can enable us to get Krishna Prema. What is that laulyam? That laulyam is to hear about Krishna, to serve Krishna for his exclusive pleasure. So that kind of laulyam is the only thing that we that will enable us to develop this love, this desire to serve Krishna for his satisfaction. Then Prabhupada explained about the two kinds of Ragatmika Bhakti. One is impelled by conjugal feelings, which are the love of the gopis towards Krishna, then the love of Srimati Radharani towards Krishna, and then Sambandha Rupa. Sambandha Rupa is impelled by various relationships. That is Sakya Rasa, what is that? Vatsalya Rasa, right? Yashoda Maya, Nanda Maharaj. Then you have Shubhala, Sridhama. All of them have this relationship with the Lord. And because of that, they have this intense desire to serve the Lord. Right? And then Prabhupada goes on to Raga Anuga Bhakti. Raga Anuga. Anuga means to follow. Follow the Ragatmika Bhaktas. And develop this intense desire to serve the Lord. And then Prabhupada explains about lusty desire versus transcendental desire. What is lusty desire? Lusty desire means what is in it for me? What can I get out of doing this? That is lusty desire. That is why Kama Hritte Pratajnana Yajante Anya Devataha. Krishna tells in Bhagavad Gita. Right? Kama is the stair, Pratajnanaha. Right? Those whose intelligence is stolen, those who have so many desires to be fulfilled, they only worship the Devatas. The rest of the people who simply want to work for the pleasure of the Lord, they only worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They don't worship anybody else other than the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They're not interested to serve anybody else other than the Supreme Personality of Godhead, right? So that is the difference between lusty desire and transcendental desire, right? Lusty desire means what will I get out of it? And transcendental desire means how can I please Krishna so that Krishna gets pleasure out of my seva. And then Prabhupada gives example, only when one is fully situated in the transcendental position can one understand the relationship of the gopis with Krishna. That is why our understanding proceeds from Canto 1 to Canto 9. Prabhupada says in the preface to Srimad Bhagavatam, anyone who studies up to the 9 cantos of Srimad Bhagavatam will be able to understand the transcendental pastimes of Radha and Krishna that we will be studying in Canto 10. That is why we have to progress from canto to canto in proper order, hearing from a bona fide authority. Right? And finally, also 3 levels of realization also was covered here. where we spoke about Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. And Bhagavan realization is the highest. Why? Because we cannot serve the Brahman, we cannot serve the Paramatma, right? But we can only serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead using our senses, right? And then Prabhupada also talks about different kinds of destinations, right? According to our level of realization, we will get different kinds of destinations. Either it is the Brahman, or it is the Vaikuntha planets, or it is ultimately the Goloka Vrindavan Dham, right? And then finally, Kama Praya. That's Kubja's love for the Lord. That is described as Kama Praya because she had this desire to enjoy with Krishna, right? Whereas the gopis, they always wanted to serve Krishna and be in Krishna's association so that Krishna gets pleased. And that is the difference. That is why Kubja's love is not equal to the gopis' love for Krishna. Right? And finally, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Who's Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Lord Krishna himself, who's come in the mode of Srimati Radharani. And it is said that he showed this form to Ramananda Rai, right? Where he showed Ramananda Rai that Radha and Krishna are combining together to become Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So, and there is no other. What did Chaitanya Mahaprabhu preach? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught us this Harinama Sankirtan, this method by which the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This is the best process in this age of Kali to attain what the others attained through meditation in Satya Yuga, through deity worship in Treta Yuga, through yajnas in Treta Yuga, through deity worship in Dwapar Yuga. The same benefit can be attained in this age of Kali, although considered the worst of all the 4 yugas, because the people are Manda, Sumanda, Matayo, Manda, Bhagya, and all that. Simply by chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, we will be able to attain the same result, which is Krishna Prema, what was attained by the others by following various other methods in the other yugas. So with this, we will end our discussion today. So 12:05. So probably we have 5 to 8 minutes. We will end at say 12:10, 12:15. If devotees want to share any realizations or share any corrections or share any practices, best practices, how we can improve our devotional service, then I invite all the devotees to kindly share. But no questions, unfortunately, on this topic because I'm not qualified to answer anything in this wonderful topic. So I hope what I said would have inspired a little bit. If it did inspire you, then it is all the mercy of Guru and Gauranga. But in case I've said something wrong, erroneous, then it is due to my anarthas. I request all the devotees to kindly bless and take
Hare
only the
Krishna,
nectar.
Mataji, that Kubja's love is not equal to Gopi's love. That one sentence, can you just tell? I didn't hear it properly.
Yeah, so Kubja's love, had this. Kubja had a little bit of inclination to enjoy with Krishna. Whereas the gopis, they don't have the slightest inclination of enjoyment. Their bliss is completely for the pleasure of the Lord.
Okay. Towards
That is
the Lord. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So please forgive me for any mistakes. Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda ki Jai. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada Srila Gurudev ki Jai. Nitai Gaura Premanande. Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna.
Mataji, yesterday's realization, what you told today's lecture is perfect because that Yam Krodha Kama Sahaja Pranayadi Bhiti Vatsalya. So today's what part you covered is Ragatmika Bhakti. So that is Ragatmika only what you told. All these means they acquire those bodies in spiritual world. Means under those ragas, all these rasas. So that Brahma Samhita Shlok is regarding that.
Hari Bol. So Krishna revealed the answer to you. I'm grateful. I became the instrument for Krishna to reveal these wonderful answers to you. Thank you, Prabhu. I'm not qualified to tell you whether your answer is correct or not. So maybe you got that realization. I'm happy for you. Hare Krishna. Dandavat pranam. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Srila Gurudev ki Jai. Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande. Hari Hari Bol. So we meet tomorrow morning as we continue with chapter number 16. See, all these are very, very high level topics. We need to ensure that we are in the right frame of mind, with the right consciousness, understanding our level as Vaidhi Sadhana Bhaktas. Our ultimate destination is to attain Krishna Prema, but we should have this consciousness. Oh Lord, please help me understand these transcendental subject matters. Very, very difficult to understand these tattvas. So, with the right consciousness, let's meet tomorrow morning,
Hare Krishna
10:55.
Mataji.
Continue with
Thank
chapter
you,
number 16.
Mataji. Hare Krishna. Thank you. Dandavat Pranam.
Jai. Thank you.